Hey, funny seeing you here. Microphone check 1 2 1 2. This is the Blaze the Lion podcast. I am your host, Blaze. Blaze the Lion, Blaze Goldsmith. Yes, and all those. All right. This is episode 64, I think. So I don't know if you guys watch the Joe Button podcast. And I don't even know why I'm even plugging another podcast. But he gets his podcast numbers wrong every week. Every week. So he'll say a number and his staff is like, no, it's actually. So I'm hoping that it's episode 64. Let's just go with that for right now. I'll change it if I need to. This is episode 64, I think. And for the whole month of March, our theme for March is athletes and coaches. Indeed. So last week, we had the theme of mixed martial artists. So we had two MMA fighters, one locally, pro MMA fighter from South Florida area, and we had another MMA fighter from Malaysia. So we got to see two different sides. A lot of their views lined up. So that was interesting. And some of the views were actually different. And then before that, episode 62, we had the mastermind, the ultimate coach, the coach's coach. We had JC Santana, man, a legend in this game. He's trained so many athletes and he's been around for 4 decades in this industry. With that said, tonight, under the umbrella of athletes, well, we have a second theme, and it's sort of a dual theme or a mixed theme because we have two different worlds clashing. Well, not clashing. Two different worlds blending together, right, to create harmony. We have one world of basketball and another world of soccer, or as the rest of the world calls it, football.
Thank
Right?
you. Thank you.
Yes.
Had to correct it.
Yeah. Only America. We
I
have
know.
our own football. So
Out
we're
of
like,
all,
oh, you mean soccer? No,
hmm
football. Yeah. I know.
like I mean football. I mean football. The
Yeah.
football.
Yes. Indeed. So, but before, yeah, they're already saying, oh, see, I got checkup. All right. It is episode 64. There we go. All right. And it is called football. Okay.
Thank.
Whatever. Soccer or basketball. All right. So I need favors from you all. For those watching, and I know some of y'all like to log in late, right? So y'all gonna walk in, just like how y'all late to your training sessions, same way how y'all late to church. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. So I know you guys will mosey on in later on. But I need favors. I need you all to first like this episode. So click that like button and make sure you like this episode. Boom. And then secondly, I need you to make sure that you are subscribed to the Blaze the Lion podcast. All right. If you are not subscribed, it's okay. I forgive you. You can make it up to me though by clicking that subscribe button. All right. And you'll get the notifications. All right. You'll get quicker access to the Blaze the Lion podcast and all the other themes, all the other episodes, 63 other episodes on here. Themes from vegan chefs and restaurants. We had themes of doctors. We had themes of DJs, all sorts of themes. And we have more themes coming as well as the season goes on. So this is season 3, episode 64. If you are really digging the movement, you loving my voice, you love what it does to you. Sorry, I'm going left already. You're loving the movement. Sorry, not my voice, the movement. Yes. And you want to contribute, you can be a monthly contributor to the Blaze the Lion podcast right there below. you can go to anchor.fm/blazetheline/support, and you can contribute for as little as $1 per month. Second tier is $4.99, and third tier is $9.99. And you get these things here. Look at these things here. Yes, the Blaze the Line podcast apparel. So you can wear it on the streets and people can stop you and spark up conversations. Oh, you watch that podcast too? Oh, you know my favorite episode, and you get into a whole nother battle about the podcast. Or not. I'm just probably rambling here. And my guests are looking like, what time do we get to talk? So
Nah, never.
they're like, shut up already. Yeah. Welcome everybody in the chat. Welcome to everybody watching right now. We are live on iSquad TV on Facebook, and we are live as well on YouTube under the Blaze the Line podcast channel. All right. So tonight's guest, we have plural guests. We have two guests tonight. All right. Both of them I've never met before. I just found them on Instagram and shot them a DM, and they answered the call, and they're here. That actually does happen sometimes. You'd be surprised. That actually works.
You never know. You never know who you're gonna meet or who you're gonna get.
Yeah. But seriously, no, I have met these two guests before. I'll let you all guess. For those that are watching the video, I'll let you all guess who's the expert in basketball and who's the expert in football. All right, I won't bother to say anything as to you guys can figure it out. All right. So before I continue being long-winded and bore you all, I'd like to introduce my guest. They are none other than Mr. Georgetown himself, Mr. Crossover himself. Ooh. Mr. Dean Berry, welcome to the pod.
Well, thanks for having me, Blaze. Really appreciate it, man. It's always a pleasure to connect with you. You know, I love the topics you touch on. I love the audience. So let's rock and roll, brother.
Hey. I would love to rock and roll. However, we have this beautiful lady who's looking at us like, where's my damn introduction?
Not Blaze. Nah.
So we also have the pleasure of someone who, if you ever watched her videos and watch what she does for leg day. Listen here.
You got me there. You got me there. Leg day is
the queen of leg day herself. Soccer extraordinaire. Trainer. Miss Overall Fit. With such a warm, winning personality that you just can't help but to look into her blue/green eyes.
Yep, the combination. That's the combination.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mama. It's all from my mama. All from my mama.
One time for Mama. Shout out Mama. We have none other than Catherine McCormick, a.k.a. Killer K, a.k.a. Coach Cat. Welcome to the pod.
Hey. How's it going? How y'all doing? Thank you so much, Blaze, for having me on the podcast. It's my first time, so I am definitely very, very excited and can't wait.
You're a podcast virgin?
I am.
Oh.
I am.
All right.
First
welcome.
time. It's gone.
Welcome.
Wow.
So we'll be nice.
Awesome. I love it. Don't roast me too much.
Well,
It's
I
all
don't know.
love.
Dean's face looks like
It's all love, Cat. It's all love. It's all love.
he's like all
Dean
those painful sessions that you put me through.
Oh
Dean-
my goodness.
all those burpees maybe do? Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Just watch.
I'm a different man for it, so I really appreciate it. I really appreciate what you put me
Love it.
through.
I love it. I got you
Yeah.
anytime.
There you go. All right. So under the theme of athletes, let's get into our first question. Is why an athlete? Where did that come from? were you pushed by a vigilant, uh, mean, domineering parent? Did you always have a love for sports, or just where did being an athlete come? How did that come into your life? Let's allow ladies to go first. Killer Cat.
Awesome. Great question. So grew up in Finland, born and raised, youngest of 11. So yes, I am the baby. 11 is a lot. My
Hold on, hold on,
parents.
hold on, hold on. Youngest of 11 children?
Yes. So I got 7 brothers and 3 sisters, and then I popped out. So
Mm.
the troublemaker popped out. All my brothers, pretty much, or a good amount of my brothers, always played sports. So Finland's cold. Winter sports is definitely a number one over there, along other sports. So whatever sport it was, always at a young age, I always wanted to join them. I was always like, let me come in, let me do this, let me do this. And I was super young. I was a little jit. So they would always look at me and be like, okay, first things first, let's put you in the goalie because you're gonna get trembled out there. We're gonna crush you. So whatever sport it was, I always ended up in the goalie or being the last player. But somehow, I always wanted to get involved, always wanted to do something, stay active. And eventually, actually, from my brother's friend. So my brother's friend was playing soccer, and I always used to hang out with my brother. He never liked it when I was a younger kid, but he had no choice. So my brother's friend was playing soccer, and I wanted to join the soccer team. I was probably around like 7, 8 years old. So I had asked him. I was like, "Hey, can I join? Can I join the boys team?" Because I was always with the boys, always hanging out with my brothers. And he was like, "Well, you could give it a shot." So we ended up. I think I brought my mom, and we ended up going to one of the local fields, and we asked the coaches if there's a girls soccer team. Lucky enough, there was. So I ended up joining the girls local soccer team called FC Vikings at around 7, 8 years old, and that's pretty much how it took off. So I
Mm.
always loved to be active. I always loved sports in general, and then soccer was just a sport that I was like, okay, let me give this a shot. And eventually I ended up falling in love with the sport. Took me many, many places. I learned a lot. So I would say definitely I got the influence from my older brothers, just in general, from playing sports, being active, and then from there, soccer was just the one sport that I was like, okay, I think this is my sport. I definitely tried other ones, but soccer
Mm.
was the one sport that I just fell in love with.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's interesting. Um, I'm the youngest of 6 between my parents, and
Hmm.
when we came to this country, I came to this country. I was 7, going on 8, and we didn't have the iPhones. We didn't have all the technology. We didn't have YouTube. So most of my activities were done outside the house. And I used to spend a lot of time with my older brother. My brother, he was a basketball player himself. So he'll go to the court, and I'm the youngest one with all his friends, all older. And, you know, I'm sitting there just watching. I'll get a ball, go on the side, and just start pounding the ball and, just pound the ball over and over. And, I went to a few games and I saw these older guys, but smaller guys, right? Playing with older guys. And these small guys were just dominating the game. You couldn't touch them. They're having so much fun. They're the smallest guys on the court. One guy's name was Edward Booger Smith. He was the first street baller to ever be on Sports Illustrated. You can look it up. His name is Ed Smith. Well, they call him Booger Smith, out of Brooklyn, New York. And I'm watching this guy. I'm like, this guy's having so much fun. I want to have fun too. So I just started, like, I picked the ball up, and I would not put the ball down. I would sleep with the ball. I walk around town with the ball, walk around Brooklyn with the ball. And the more you walk with the ball and dribble the ball, the more you're getting a workout without even realizing it, right?
Yeah.
So it becomes a natural feel. So I dribbled and played and played, and it was more my doing than anything else. No one pushed me into the sport. It was just my desire to have that level of fun that I saw Edward Booger Smith having. And he's one of many guys I saw having fun. And in order to really enjoy the fun a sport can afford, you have to get better. So for me, I just wanted to get better and get better and get better. So I worked at it and got better and started having fun. I started doing things and kind of controlling people like a puppet. because that's what happens when you have moves. You know, you can control people like a puppet. So
Hmm.
it's just that's how I got into the game. My brother was, with his friends, and I'm there tagging along. I'm seeing guys doing stuff and guys having fun, and I wanted to have fun too. So I felt in order for me to have that level of fun, I had to spend a lot of time like honing my skills, like dribbling the ball, just becoming one with the ball. Just like how, with soccer and your feet. It's like, the
Mm,
same thing. The more you do it, the better you get.
exactly.
And it's just
Ball everywhere, doing something with it.
it was my best friend. It was my iPad. My basketball was my iPhone. you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's how I got into that. It's just been an amazing ride, man. That little
I,
ball.
I bet it can be life changing, right? How just a love for a
Definitely.
sport, right? For putting the ball in a goal or putting the ball in the basket, and it can bring so many friendships, right? So many, it can bond
Yeah.
so many and take you so many places. So
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. I think basketball is like it's a global fraternity. Well, any sport, if you
Mhm.
play a sport and you're pretty good at it for the most part, you can go anywhere and instantly connect with people. You can start a conversation and a meaningful conversation. It's like, this is my brother, this is my sister, and it's just a beautiful thing to be involved in sports in general. You know,
Especially if it's a team sport. You never know
yeah,
who your mates are, who you're gonna meet, what connects they have, and how close they end up to you at the end of the day. So it's a very fortunate thing to be around and to have sports in
yeah,
general. Teaches you a lot.
definitely.
Even for a lot of kids, it's so important to stay active, get into some type of sport or something because it teaches you a lot of skills
hmm.
and a lot of life lessons. A lot of life lessons.
Hmm.
Oh, endless, endless.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I am curious if we were to switch. So, Kat, have you ever played basketball? Have you ever tried your hand at basketball? And Dean, have you ever played football?
Football. I'll go first on this one. All right. My dad played professional for Jamaica. He played football for Jamaica. And he was pretty good. My older brother is really good. He has all those tricks and all that stuff. You know, Coming to America and being around, a bunch of different kids in Brooklyn, we weren't playing soccer. We were playing stickball, baseball, stickball, basketball, and sometimes just throwing football in the wintertime. But I did try soccer. I tried soccer with my brother-in-law, and it was amazing. It was the most amazing thing. But because I'm an athlete, so I can move. But just the way these guys dribble the ball with their feet compared to how I dribble with my hands, it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Like my brother-in-law could do all these tricks with his feet, and so can my older brother. And he set me up one time. We were playing, I playing on the field and playing against some guys, and he said, just go to the goal and stay close to the goal. When the ball comes, just kick it in the net, right in the goal. So I didn't see the ball coming. The next thing I knew, the ball was in the net. So whatever he did, he set me up right, and I scored my first goal. I'll never forget that. That was life changing for me. But
Hey,
yeah, it's an amazing thing. I mean, when you watch the sport and see people play it at a high level, it's just the most amazing thing to watch. I
yeah.
remember back in Georgetown, I went and I think I saw Brazil play Jamaica in DC,
hmm
and I think it was Ronaldinho or one of those guys. This guy was the most amazing guy I've ever seen. The
Yeah.
way he was dribbling the ball up the court, up the field. I keep saying court, up the field. It was just so mesmerizing. So it's to me when you practice a sport and you get to a certain level, you can have a certain level of enjoyment. And these guys are having that level of enjoyment that I was having with basketball. So it's a beautiful thing.
That's
But that
awesome.
was my experience with soccer, with football. Yeah.
As oof, right now, when it comes to playing basketball, I mess around every now and then. But when I was younger, it was probably in upper secondary school. Always in school we would have basketball training, and I loved it. I loved playing it back then, but I was a lot younger, so for me, catching on to sports in general was very easy in that sense because I played soccer. Then after one sport comes another sport. So for
Hmm.
me, I was able to pick up very quickly. So
Yeah.
back in upper secondary school, yeah, I would say I really did enjoy it, and I loved always dribbling the ball, always attacking. And
Yeah.
my coach at the time, or school coach at the time, she was always hyped up. But right now, it wouldn't look the best. I'll definitely, I'll definitely
Yeah.
try. I never say no to a challenge, But I could probably catch on if I actually learned like all the techniques, because there's a lot of techniques to it. I was learning dribbling
Yeah.
and just dribbling with your right hand, with your left hand, with your non-dominant hand, and for me, like my lefty, I'm not the best. So trying to learn
Yeah.
tricks and dribbling with it, it was interesting. It was definitely,
Yeah.
but in general, I really like all sports. But yeah, soccer
Mm.
was definitely the one that stuck with me. But basketball's fun. Love watching it. Definitely love watching it. It's a very, very interesting game, intense game. I haven't been to any huge games that's still on the list to go actually go see a game live, but I've seen college games and my college team. So that was interesting. It was intense.
Yeah.
Definitely got me on my feet.
I think as part of a training session, I feel like Dean and Kat should go head to head. You know, they should.
Down. I'll be down.
So they should go on the court, and
Dean.
then they should go on the
And then on the
field.
field,
I
I'm
Yeah.
sure Kat would kill me.
have.
She's in such great shape, man. It's amazing.
Oh man,
Yeah.
when it comes to basketball, you might let out a laugh or two, but
No, I love it.
fun.
For me, in sports, I've always been somewhat fast. So with soccer or with baseball or with basketball, I could always run past, right? Whoever. However, when the soccer ball would come, right, run past everybody. And the goal is here, and for some reason the ball would kind of go over here. I wasn't really sure. Or in basketball, I would dribble and do all the fancy moves, and then I would go make the shot, and then it'd be a air ball. Yeah. So I stuck to like other
Yeah.
sports like CrossFit and running and stuff. So I could
Yeah.
actually, yeah. But
Yeah.
enough about me. Let's focus on you all.
Oh man,
This
it happens. It happens. You can't be good at everything.
is
Yeah.
true, right? I mean, I can't be perfect at everything.
Right.
So God knew what He
Can't
was
be-
doing.
We all gotta play some soccer, football, and then we all gotta play a little bit of basketball. Test our skills out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You know what would be cool? This is kind of off topic, but I would love Kat to just watch my son. He's 5,
Okay,
and he's been playing soccer on and off for half of his life since
I
he was
love it.
3.
I love it.
Yeah, so he has an early start, and he's pretty good. He's fast. Not sure where he got that from, but he's super fast. So he runs past everybody,
Yeah,
and he's excited. Even this evening, it was raining, and we weren't gonna go, and we got to the field, and there are big puddles in the field, and the coach comes up to us and says, "Well, it's raining. Most of the players aren't here. We only have maybe 3 other kids. So it's up to you if you want him to play in the rain or you guys can leave." So we look at my son and we're like, "Hendrix, do you want
He
to
wants
play
to
in the
play.
rain?" And he goes,
yep.
Yep. Yep.
I'm like, "There we go. Let's go.
That's
Let's
a
go."
good sign right there. That's a good
I love.
sign.
I love.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny you say that. That reminds me. I used to have a coach. We're still pretty close up until now, but she was my coach back in my local team, and then ended up being my coach for a while. And she always used to say, "There's no such thing as bad weather. It,
Right. Right.
or how you dress, that's what counts."
Yeah.
And ever since then, that always stuck. It will be pouring. It will be snowstorms, and she'll be like, "Hey, let's get on the field.
Yeah.
Let's some like slide tackles. Let's do
Yeah.
something. Get on the field." Doesn't matter. She's like, "You guys are on the field, right? Okay. Are you guys made of soap? Nope. Perfect."
Right.
Oh,
Yeah. I remember when I was younger in New York and in the rain, in the rain, you can't run on a basketball court outside, but you can shoot. So there's always something you can do. So I'm outside, I'm shooting. I think it helped my shot to get better because you had that interference of the rain coming in, but you still had to make the shot. So for me, I had to make a certain amount of shots when I'm out there. And it's funny because my daughter plays golf and she's out there when it's raining. And people are going inside and she's like, "No, I want to finish up my shots." So she's out there in the rain hitting her shots. And, lo and behold, this past year, she was the Broward County Middle School champion. And I'm
That's
thinking, she's been through all these different situations on the golf course. So when it comes time for her to play, there's nothing you could throw at her that she hasn't seen before.
correct.
So your son at 5 years old, for him to want to be out there when it's wet and raining, everybody's going home. That's a sign that he's on the verge of something great. You
Mm-hmm.
know.
It's
So
great. Already at a,
embrace that, man. Embrace that.
he doesn't understand it, but it's the mentality that is
Yep.
take you far. It's what's up here. You can always have so much talent, but what's up here is how you're gonna separate from the rest. So that's
Oh, that's awesome.
yes, I would love to watch him
Yeah.
play. Definitely.
What you just said is so powerful, Kat. Like, I see a lot of kids, I train basketball, so I see a lot of kids and they get in a training session and they're training, everything is like perfect, technically just sound, right? But then they get on the court and up here, they're not ready mentally. So they have all the skills, all the potential, but potential means nothing if you can't execute it, right?
Mhm.
So to have the mindset and the physical ability and the technical skills, you're putting yourself in a whole nother level. So that's awesome, man. That's perfect what you just said, Kat. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like talent. Talent at the end of the day is only gonna take you so far.
Right.
So it's so important, even nowadays. That's another topic to get back to about just the mentality
Yeah.
in sports and the mental aspect of things. That's people think that okay, the physical is number one. No, the mental
Right. Right.
aspect is what's gonna take you far. So
Right.
it's awesome. It's awesome that he has that mindset already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
5 years old. That's pretty good, man.
indeed. We'll see. He wants to, at 5, he wants to also try out for American football. He wants to do boxing. He wants to do baseball, all these things. So I'm telling him, one, you need a part-time job for all these different sports you're gonna do.
They're not cheap.
Listen, but I love that because I feel like I started late, right? But he has a good history, right? My dad was an athlete. My grandfather was an athlete, so he has some really good genes. So
Hmm.
we shall see.
That's awesome. That's
With
awesome. I guess to keep going.
with yes, absolutely. With you two, I am curious, as you all have traveled, right? Playing with this, well, dribbling and kicking this ball has brought you to different parts of the nation and probably different parts of the world. So my question is, through all the talents that you've seen, through all the regions and the areas that you've been to, has there been one area, has there been one school, one region that you've seen and you're like, whoa, this is, they're pretty intense over here? Anything like that?
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, for me, for basketball, I think, well, it used to be the Washington D.C. DMV area,
Okay.
D.C., Maryland, Virginia. I
Okay.
mean, because you have so many people, and it's really intense. Basketball is really intense in that area. Um, and prior to that was New York. I grew up in New York, so playing in New York, you had the boroughs. The boroughs used to always compete: Bronx, Brooklyn,
Mm-hmm.
Queens, Staten Island, all those places. So, but I think just like in terms of organization and just being just very organized with it, I think the DMV is probably one of the most competitive areas, the DMV, because everyone gets to the DMV. From New York, you get down to DMV, it's like 3-4
Mm-hmm.
hours.
Mm-hmm.
But I think New York has the best handles, best dribbling. DMV, you talk about guys like Kevin Durant. You look in the NBA, you see a lot of guys, that went to like the Sidwell friends, like Josh Hart, all these guys, Sadiq Bey, all these guys who came from the DMV and went to like Villanova and all these other schools. Now they're in the NBA, but the DMV is pretty, it's pretty competitive. And Steve Francis was out the DMV. Allen
Mm-hmm.
Iverson, pretty much out the DMV.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the DMV for a while because I went to boarding school down there. So it was really competitive, really competitive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
And Kat, I'm curious because you've been on the other side of the world in Finland
Yeah.
and here in America. So I'm curious to hear about if there was any difference in the levels.
Oh, and the levels now. There's definitely like as far as playing over in Finland and playing in here in Florida. I would say definitely one thing that they like to, I guess, really focus on is the physical aspect. So as far as, what type of shape are you in? How far can you run? How long can you last in the game? So I would say back in Europe, they definitely take a lot more time to focus on the technical part and the tactical part, and more of like just being able to understand the game a lot more and understanding your players and knowing exactly, okay, where they want the ball, when they want the ball, what pass, the exact timing. So I would say over in Europe, it was a lot different because they took the time to really, focus on those aspects and make sure you're not just playing soccer and kicking the ball around, that your IQ of the game is actually,
Yeah.
you're with the game, you understand the game, you understand the tiny aspects of what's going to, separate you from other
Mm.
teams you end up playing. Here, yes, they do the same. They definitely do the same, but it's more the physical part. They focus a lot on the physical part. How, like I said, how long can you run in the game? How fast can you run? Which is, of course, important, but
Hmm.
at the end of the day, if you don't understand the game itself, you're not going to go anywhere with the team or as an
Yeah.
individual. So I would say that's definitely one of the bigger things that I noticed, that the level
Mhm.
here. That's why they're at their top peak, because in that sense, even if you look at the women's soccer team, the national team, they can run. They can run, and they can last throughout the whole game. And I guess it's a good thing to have. But then at the end of the day, of course, you have to understand the game as well.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
So
That's interesting.
that's one of the things. But yeah, soccer has definitely taken me many places. So I've seen a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. You said something that I want to touch on. You mentioned just the technical side of it. Part of my, like, when I train kids, I focus a lot on like technique, because what happens is you get tired, right?
Right.
You get tired, but if your technique is always on point, your
Hmm.
technique will carry you through, right? Because
Right.
it becomes muscle memory, it becomes all those things that you don't have to think about anymore. It's just all technique. So
Mhm.
focusing heavy on technique is extremely important. And of course, you have to have the physical ability to endure and go through the whole entire process of playing a game. But the technique is so important. It's like lifting weights. When you lift weights, if you're lifting wrong, you can lift as fast as you want. It's
Mhm.
wrong. It's not going to be a good outcome. But when your technique is right, of course you might start out slow first with the technique, and over the course of time you build up some speed.
Mhm.
But technique is extremely important. So that's interesting that Finland focused so much on techniques.
Yeah. Same
Yeah.
thing. Thing like you said. You can run. The coach can tell you, okay, run that way. But then, okay, why? Why should I run that way? What is
yeah.
Yeah.
it gonna benefit me? How is it going to benefit the team? So it's very interesting to see the differences. I would say there's a lot of things that I think, back in Finland and playing against different teams, because I've traveled a lot, and seen a lot of different
Yeah.
teams. So it's interesting to see, yes, like the technical part of it, but then on the other hand, it's interesting to see how the states are doing so well with just the physical aspects of it.
Right.
How
Right.
they and excel. If you look at the pro teams, they're doing phenomenal. The women's
Yeah.
soccer is at the top for the states.
Yeah.
So they're doing really, really good. But yes, there are definitely, it's interesting to see the differences and like how the technical part can take you a lot further.
Right. Right.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what's lacking, I think, a lot with a lot of different Florida basketball programs that I see. Is you see a lot of kids that can jump out the gym. Kids are jumping, going through their legs in
Yeah.
the air and dunking it,
Hmm.
and all these different things. But the technique, they're still shooting the ball in different ways, and
Yeah.
it just doesn't work. When you look at the greatest shooters shoot a certain way. So why not copy greatness,
Hmm.
right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can
Exactly.
modify it. You can modify it a bit, but
Mhm.
start with the basic first. Yeah.
Hmm. A couple of teams definitely that stood out because back over in Finland, the high school I played for, we got invited to Guatemala. So it was pretty much a youth national World Cup that
Mm,
I did to, which was awesome. We got to see a whole bunch of teams, and Germany and France was one of the teams that we ended up playing against. And not to talk bad about Finland, but they definitely schooled us. We had, even though we had the technical part and everything down, they were just one step ahead. They just knew from
yeah.
their head, they knew their players and they knew their teammates. So they
Mm,
understand the game a lot more. So I would say there are definitely a couple countries out up there that do phenomenal in
mm,
understanding the game, reading the game, and you know, there's obviously a lot of countries that are still up there as well, right next to
Yeah.
Germany. But Germany was definitely one of the teams that stood out a lot, and France. France was amazing.
That's interesting. I mean, basketball it's a global sport as well. And when you look at like overseas, you look at guys like Luka Doncic, right? Luka Doncic, he's been in the professional space for a while, but he's learned how to play the right way. Like he's technically sound. He's not the fastest, he's not the biggest, he's not the strong, but he knows what he's doing. When you have an understanding for the game, you can play at a high level. Chris Paul is another one. Chris Paul is my size. Chris Paul is about 6 foot. He's probably 180, 185, but he's been playing for about 20 years because he plays the game up here. So it's really, I think someone wrote in the comments, mind over matter. It's mind over matter because after you've been spending so much time doing things the right way for such a long time that you no longer have to think about it. It's mind over matter. You just go through the process and your body remembers through muscle memory, muscle and mind memory. So it's a beautiful thing.
Dean, you brought up a name. You brought up the name Allen Iverson, and I see you wearing a Georgetown shirt.
I should be wearing his jersey. That's my guy, man. That's my guy.
So you care to elaborate a little bit on Allen Iverson? One of our legends.
Allen Iverson is one of the hardest working guys I have ever met. I thought I worked hard because I'll get to the gym early, I'll stay late. Yeah, he'll get to the gym early. He'll work his butt off. He'll stay late just like I did. But in terms of the energy he put in for every drill, he went at every drill like it was his last drill. He went at every practice rotation like it was his last rotation. So he put everything into everything he did. I argue with him sometimes. I call him the GOAT. He said he's not the GOAT. And I'm telling him, look, how many guys that's your size, 160, 165 pounds wet? Really, I was heavier than him. Can do or have done what you have done. I look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan 6'6", 215. Allen is 6 foot, 160 pounds, and he carried a whole team. It took Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant to beat Allen Iverson in the NBA Finals. Think about what I just said. Shaquille O'Neal is 7'1", 300 and something pounds. Kobe Bryant, God bless his soul, 6'6", 215 pounds, 220 pounds. Allen Iverson was $160, 6 foot. And it took those two guys to beat him in the NBA Finals. The first game, if you remember, he went into LA in the finals, and I think he scored like 40 points, and he dominated that team, and they won the game. Little Allen Iverson, he had no offensive help. No disrespect to those other guys. Dikembe was a great blocker. Eric Snow was a great facilitator. But Allen Iverson carried that team. So to me, for him to have done what he did on the court and also off the court, he's changed. He's brought basketball to China, to all over the world. People know who Allen Iverson is, and this guy is 6 foot, 160 pounds. And he's the most humble guy you'll ever meet. And he has all the rights to be cocky, but he's not that way. He's the most humble guy you ever meet, man. So, I was talking to him, a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about stuff, and I was like, what frustrates me is when I hear this soundbite. They talk about practice, 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 but people don't understand. This is a guy who, Big John Thompson in practice would say, Allen, you got to sit down because you're working so hard, you're embarrassing everybody else. We'll run suicide drills, and I was pretty fast on suicide, and I'm looking ahead like, why can I catch up to this guy? I'm running as hard as I can. So this guy he worked so hard, man. So it was unfair when the media did that, but I do understand why the media do stuff like that. But this guy is one of the most hardest working guys I've ever met, ever been around, and one of the most humble guys as well. So that's
so there's a rumor. There's a rumor. You can elaborate and you can let us know. You can let the world know if it's true or not. I don't know. Right. But there's a rumor that one of the things that Allen Iverson is known for is that infamous crossover move. And there's a rumor out there that you taught him that.
Yeah, we spent some time. It's funny. The story goes back to when we were younger. I think like 15 years old, and we played against each other in a DC All-Star game, a Pro-Am game. My New York team versus his Virginia team. And I get out there, we're playing, and his team was winning. He was doing his thing, and I get on the court, and I started crossing him up. And I remember him telling one of his teammates, "You go guard him," because he didn't want to guard me because it was different. I was doing my thing, and they won the game. And after the game, I remember going on a bus. We were going to BET Teen Summit at the time. That's what it was. And Jada Pinkett was the host.
Yeah.
Jada Pinkett Smith now was the host. And we're going on this bus, and he pulled me over. He's like, "Man, you got wicked crossover, man. You got to keep that up." This is back in high school. So he was ninth grade, or he was 10th grade. I was ninth grade at the time. Um, Speed forward a few years later, we're at Georgetown. We're at Georgetown, and we're in practice. And I'm just like, he didn't know what was going on. He couldn't stop it. I kept on doing this crossover. He couldn't stop it. I was doing left hand. I was doing right hand. So you can't gauge that. When you can't stop a guy from going left or can't go right, you can't really do anything. That guy is pretty damn good. So he said to me, man, he's like, "Man, we got to work on this. You got to show me how to do this." And I love this guy. He didn't know how much I loved him from what he told me when we were 15 years old. When he said to me, because at the time, that was my first real big AAU travel basketball experience. When he said to me, "Man, you got a real crossover. You got to keep that up," right? That inspired me so much that he didn't know. He didn't know until I told him a few weeks ago what that did to me. And we're at Georgetown, and he said, "You got to show me this." Without a second guess, I would have showed him anything he wanted. So I showed him, and we spent some time doing that. It got to a point where I couldn't guard him, and I knew when it was coming. And when you know something is coming and you can't stop it, that's when you know you're dynamite. So you look at the NBA highlights and you see him doing this crossover stuff, and guys know it's coming, but you can't stop it. That's the beauty, and that's the beauty of his move, man. But he's really perfected it. He took it to a whole nother level, made it international. He brought it to the big stage. So he owns that crossover. That's Allen Iverson. That's my guy. That's my guy.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Quite a story. And even you telling that story, that even shows how humble you are, right? So much respected. Much respected. Kat, has there been anyone that you've met that again just blew your mind? Or is there anyone that is a professional soccer player or someone out there and you're like, folks don't know, but I schooled her. I checked her.
I'm trying to think. Actually, that's a great question now that you bring it up.
I can't narrow it down to one. There's so many.
I've definitely been to a good amount of teams, and I've seen a good amount of soccer games, and I haven't actually had a conversation or talk with them, but I've definitely watched the Swedish national team, the Finnish national team, and there are a lot of great players that you look up and you're like, wow, that's awesome. I'm trying to think as far as there's a coach. Do coaches count?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so when I was younger, I used to join a lot of camps, and it was with one of my coaches that coached at the local team that I first started at, and she knew a lot of people. She actually coached in Florida, and traveled to Florida, and she coached a lot in the States. And she knew this one lady, and she was a kicking coach. So I'm trying to remember her last name because they always called her by her last name, but I can't remember her last name. She's Swedish though. She's Swedish. And it was pretty awesome to learn from her because she ended up coaching Zlatan. You heard from Zlatan, the soccer player?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy soccer player, does the crazy moves. So she was actually his kicking, like technical coach. So I went to camp and I didn't know it at the time. I didn't find out until after the camp. But she took me aside and she was really sat down and she taught the skills and we had a good conversation, and that was really awesome afterwards to kind of be like, wow, like I got to talk with the same person that used to coach Zlatan, and Zlatan is a phenomenal player. Just understands the game, and the goals he makes, I do not understand how he makes those goals. Something else. So that would be definitely one of the bigger things. I was like, wow, I got to get coached by the same coach that taught Zlatan the basics and his kicks and all his crazy moves. So that would definitely be one thing that I appreciate and had got the opportunity to be coached by her. I would say that's one of the top moments.
Mm-hmm. Dean,
Yes.
do you know what time it is?
I do not know what time it is.
Cat,
Mm,
do you know what time it is?
I do not. Tell
There's
me.
a catch here.
Hmm. No one knows what time it is? No?
I forgot. I forgot this catch here. It's
Hmm.
Make me a little nervous out here. I don't know what time it
Anyone in the chat know what time it is? No? No one know what time it is? Color time! Color time!
color.
Color time!
Oh
Color
God,
time!
color time. All right.
Hey,
Uh,
it is color
is.
time. Damn it.
all right.
It's color time. Damn
You
it.
gotta elaborate more on that one, brother.
Now I'm excited. I'm excited.
This is color time. This is the portion of the show where we get to test your gangster.
Mm.
We get to test how quickly you can think on your feet. Are you truly a mastermind? Or is it all cap?
Mm.
Do you really have this all under control? Or are you a quitter? So in color time, I'm trying to increase this build up, right? Okay. So for color time, it's the portion of the show where I'll say a random color. Could be any color. And when I call upon you, you will just simply state what that color means to you, what stands out about that color. And there is no right or wrong answer. It could be anything. It could be logical. It could be philosophical. It could be reality. It could be spiritual, metaphoric. Any of those. It could be humorous. It could bring up a short story from your past. Whatever. There is no right or wrong answer. It's simply what that color says to you in that moment. So, with that long winded explanation, are you all ready?
I'm ready as can be, I guess.
Right. You said it.
Ready as can be.
As ready as
So
can be.
I'll ease into it. And for the first color, I'll be nice and I'll give you two both the same color just to practice. All right. Because I'm a nice guy, because I'm humble. But after that, then it gets crazy and then we just going to figure this out.
After that, you're on your
Yes.
own.
Yes, basically. All right, here we go. Let's keep it easy. Color number one, red. We'll start with Dean.
Excitement, fiery excitement, driven, hardworking,
Mm.
just overcoming, just drive. You have a drive, a drive for greatness. Yeah.
I would say yeah, fierce, driven.
Yeah.
No, you can't use those words.
Oh, spicy.
Hey.
Spicy.
Mm.
I like that. I like that.
Those two stood out.
I like spicy. All right. There. See? That wasn't bad, right?
We got it.
Piece of cake. Piece of cake. All right. So here we go. Color number two. Starting with Dean. Let's go with fuchsia.
I knew you were going to say that. Pleasant, just peaceful, loving. I think my wife when I think of fuchsia. I think that was her wedding colors. So
Good answer.
yeah.
Somebody's smiling tonight. All right. Good. Killer K, your second color is camouflage green.
Camouflage green. Oh, interesting color. Relaxing. Calming. And it reminds me of a crazy story over in when I traveled to Australia. I went on a camping trip with my crazy ass brother. that thought it would be a great idea to, and that was my first time. Keep in mind, first time actually traveling from Finland. Besides the soccer team, like traveling almost by myself. And he took me on this camping trip that he goes on every year. Crazy. I was alone in the tents, and he just played games with me this whole trip. Cause what comes to mind when you think of Australia? Insects, snakes, you know,
Kangaroos.
Outback, yeah.
woods, and it reminded me of the tent I was in, and I was scared. I was so scared in that tent. Because he definitely told a lot of stories, and I have a lot of bad spider stories. I hate spiders. Hate spiders. I was the tent. I was scared to death. Then, you know, I was that one tent. So that was it. That was a crazy story that reminded me of. Other than the calming and peaceful, but it reminds me of a crazy story. That was one of my best traveling stories. Best traveling or trips, adventures. It definitely brought me out of my shell a lot. 1 month in Australia, it definitely changes you.
Wow.
In
Wow.
Australia, I loved it though. Loved every bit of it.
So calming, relaxing, but also
Traumatized.
terrifying.
Traumatized. No.
All right. Color number 3, we're going back to Cat. Here we go. Your next color is dark gray.
Wow.
Ooh, dark gray. Gloomy. Gloomy. But yet simple and calm at the same time. Gray's never been my favorite color.
Are you saying that my shirt gives you a gloomy feel?
Your shirt, I love your shirt. You know, trying to turn against me. What you gotta flip it like that? Nah, definitely I would say simple, very simple color, simple.
You're saying that simple people wear gray?
But yeah, simple people be the most interesting people.
So you're calling me simple,
but interesting.
but interesting. Interesting.
It's good. Very good. Very good.
All right. Mr. Berry, your next color is. This is always a good one. Hot pink.
Hot pink. Wow. Valentine's Day. It's close to red, but it's hot pink. Excitement. Don't get me in trouble, Blaze. I think of cotton candy. I think of my wife. She's a loving soul, and so I think a lot of love surrounds pink and red. So yeah, pink is a tough one. They say only a real man can wear pink. I mean,
gray. Out of all the gray, you got the easiest color.
I was hoping for something else. But, pink is interesting, man. Pink. I get this mango passion fruit drink sometimes, and it's pink. I think of that. And I wear pink on special days. Like I think of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that's one of the things where I'm always, I'm donning the color pink. So I have these pink LeBron James sneakers. I got this pink shirt. Very few things in my closet are pink, but I remember them because they're pink.
Sure.
So, yeah.
There we go.
Pink is life, man. Pink is life.
I don't think anyone has ever said those answers for hot pink, so that's good. Cotton candy and breast cancer. I haven't heard those before. So
yeah.
Oh,
Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Yeah.
Yeah. October. Oh, see, look at this.
I love.
Oh, he had pink.
So for those who are not watching the video and who be listening to the audio, in the chat we have someone who says, well, we have Mrs. Berry who says Miami Heat hot pink. So that was timely.
Yeah.
All right.
Very good timing.
Yeah. Kat, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Cream.
Cream. Like, as far as like a beige cream, or like just cream.
The the color cream.
Fun, light. Cream. Blaze, you be giving me the hardest. Why? What? Hot pink. I could have told you I had to worry about that, but
No, that's too easy. That's too easy.
come on,
Oh, God.
come on, Blaze. You know what cream reminds me of? I don't know why, but cake came to mind. Birthday cake. Birthday
There
cake.
you go.
Sweet. Something sweet.
There we go. Okay. There we go. Dean, this color is all yours, bro. This is all you right here.
All right.
This is all you right here. Here we go. Off-white.
Off-white. Wow. Oh, the first thing that comes to mind is in New York when it snows, you see white snow, and you see snow that's off-white. You want to stay away from the off-white snow. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Off-white, I think of calmness. I think of
For those who've never been to New York or seen snow, why should they stay away from off-white snow?
There's a high probability that off-white snow might contain something that came from the body of an animal or a person. So stay away from that. All right.
That's the exact same in Finland. Same thing in Finland.
Yeah. So the other part to off-white, I think, dim lights, calmness, tranquility. I think massage. I need a massage. Get a massage. For my wife or give me a massage. What else? My old patent leather Jordans. They used to be powder white. Now they're off-white. They're cream. They're off-white. But more so just calmness. I think of peace and calmness when I think off-white. See, even just now, I'm sitting back when I think off-white. It's relaxing me. It's a sense of peace and calmness. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Kat, you had help in the chat. They were giving you vanilla ice cream.
Oh, okay.
Blank.
Blank. Someone said blank. that wasn't my
Paint.
Paint. Okay, fair. Those are good ones. Those are good ones.
There's a delay in the chat, so by the time that we see their answers, it's already like the next person. But
okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate the help. Since Blaze didn't really give me that help.
No, I gave you help.
It was decent. Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, it could be harder colors.
No, I'll take it. I'll take those. I take my word back. I take it back.
All right, we got 2 more colors, and then we'll dive in to one more question, and then we'll close out. I know this is a Tuesday night, and these fitness professionals, these coaches here, they be getting up early before the sun rises. So, yeah. So I gotta respect that. All right, here we go. Kat, your next color is
Come on, Blaze. Come on, give me. Don't hit me with those hard colors.
all right. So I'll go easy. I feel like all these have been kind of tough, so I'll go easy. Here we go. Your next color is rose gold.
Ooh.
Rose gold.
Rose gold.
Wow.
And you can't say gold in your answers.
Memorable. Memorable. Stands out. Something that really stands out. Rose gold brings attention, a lot of attention, and it's simple yet, something. It's just something that brings you towards it, I would say. Now, as far as rose gold, what reminds me of it? Flowers. honestly. Not the exact same color, but flowers, and something flowers smell good, brings you peace. And it reminds me of my mom. My mom, she loves flowers, she loves the colors, so definitely reminds me of my mom.
Mhm. Okay. I can dig it. I can dig it. Dean, we got an easy color for you. Easy, easy. Here we go. Doodle brown.
Doodle brown. Chocolate chip cookies. I don't like.
Hold up, you say you don't like chocolate?
No, not chocolate chip cookies.
Okay.
Yeah. If it has
I know that's
oatmeal
my
and
face
anything
too.
like
That's
that,
my face too.
I love oatmeal cookies. Oatmeal, but chocolate chip cookies by itself, no. So when I think of that, I think of like brown M&Ms, um, Rocky Road's ice cream. Rocky Road's ice cream. My wife likes that. Um, coffee straight, no, nothing added to it. Espresso. Doodoo brown. Oh, it took me to a place where when my daughter was. This is kind of disgusting. My daughter was like, I think 4 years old, and she just did not
What's that?
want to go where she wanted to go. So, so she, I see that. So she went in the shower in the bathtub, and it was doo doo brown. Go figure. And who had to clean it up? Me. So it's a place of unpleasantry. It's not a good place to be. Doo doo brown.
That was
Oh,
funny.
man.
It is what
Oh,
it is.
man.
Have to be honest, right?
I'm still lost that you don't like chocolate chip cookies.
I know that just that
I don't know
I'm
how that's possible.
mind boggled right now. Like that just
Yeah.
kind of itched my
Yeah.
throat a little. That was like,
Chocolate chip cookies really hurt my stomach. I can't do it. Chocolate chip cookies.
yeah.
Give me oatmeal raisin cookies, oatmeal cookies all day
I mean, I
long.
like those too,
Those are good, but
No
you
chocolate.
don't like chocolate chip?
but chocolate chip cookies are like the king, though.
I do
Mm-hmm.
not get along with cows. The milk from the cows and stuff. I don't get along with cows.
Well, at
You're vegan.
Sprouts, at Sprouts, they have vegan chocolate chip cookies.
And those are good, but those are not normal. Yeah. Those are different. That's
Well,
true.
you all are not normal. That's why you're on this podcast.
Man, I appreciate you, dude. Big fan.
All right, final color for each of you, and then we're getting back into the questions. Well, the real questions. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Let's watch on Kat's facial expression. Kat, your final color is will be revealed after I go to Dean. Dean,
Oh God.
Okay.
your
man.
final color.
You're gonna hit me like that? All right. Okay. Fair enough.
Dean,
I'm
your
remember this.
final color is navy blue.
Navy blue. Oh man. Strength. I think of fun, stability, um, togetherness, peace. Whenever I think of anything blue, I think peace and fun. It all just runs together, correlates. Just good times, good times. You can't be in a blue environment and not feel life. I think the blue skies, even though we talk about navy blue. Think of my Hoyas. I'm Hoya strong, no matter what's going on. I bleed Hoya blue, as I would say. We've had a tough year this year, but we're still blue strong. Hoya Nation still strong, still together. We still talk. A bunch of us from the past, we still get together in our chat and we communicate. So I think togetherness. I think brotherhood. When I think of blue. Yeah.
All right. I dig it. Kat, are you ready?
As ready as can be. I mean, these colors are being a little off, so I'm kind of
You think so?
nervous. Nah.
I think they've been quite fitting.
Nah, they were good. I feel like Dean has got a good amount of colors. I just feel like I'm not getting the best colors.
Yeah, rose gold.
Besides rose gold. Rose gold was a good one. It was definitely a good one.
All right, this should be a good one.
Okay.
This one is perfect. Here we go. Lavender.
Lavender.
Mm.
The first thing, I'm not gonna lie, the first thing that came to mind was my mom. She
Mm.
loves lavender. She loves the color. She loves the smell. Very peaceful, very calming, very relaxing. Like just thinking of the color just made me already feel very, very relaxed. Brings you together, but very, very calming. You know, I love the color itself. Reminds me, like I said, of my mom. You know, definitely very, very close with both my parents. But the color itself, that's lavender. I would see my mom have lavender everything. It'd always be something with lavender, and then I would always smell it. So it just bring you a good smell. Very, very good, peaceful smell.
Laughing in the chat because they are talking about all this food.
Rocky Road ice
Road
cream.
ice cream.
That's the one thing.
Oh,
We got Sue having dark chocolate Oreo thins.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I didn't even know they have dark chocolate Oreos?
Sue, send me some. Send me some.
my wife bought some. I have some here. Not
Oh.
touching it. Yeah. Not touching it.
Shots of Sprouts.
That's a sponsor of the podcast.
It's the thins. Yes, but it's still Oreos. I get it. It's the thins.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. Here we go. What I wanted to touch on was adversity, right? Being an athlete, being a coach comes with many ups, right? Many wins. And I'm sure you both have experienced many wins. However, there are always the tough seasons. There's always the tough games. There's always those times where you've gone to practice or you've played in an important game while battling something else, whether it was going on at home or just battling something in your head. So I just wanted to provide time for that to share from each of you in this athlete journey. Has there been a dark period, a dark moment, a dark season in your life? And if so, how did you overcome it?
Hmm.
So whoever wants to go first on this one.
I would say definitely soccer, like I said, has taught me a lot as I've been able to meet a lot of people. But it's always a love-hate relationship. And definitely even like back in Finland before I got the opportunity to come to the States, the biggest thing has always been injuries for me. And it takes, especially back in Finland at a younger age, trying to, or people telling you that you have so much potential to be places, yet these tiny minor, whether it's big or minor injuries, play a big part. And when the game gets taken away from you, you start to think, man, like, now what am I gonna do? So it brings it back to the mental part that I was saying. It's like mentally, athletes get destroyed if they're not able to be with the sport. And unfortunately, I was just one of those people that I always got a lot of injuries. And it definitely took a big toll mentally. And it took a lot to overcome. So even before coming to the States, I was able to, long story short, I was able to get a scholarship pretty much last minute to come to play in Florida. But one of the biggest things was I was recovering from an injury, and I was out of the game for almost a year and a half. And mentally, it destroyed me. It really took a big toll. And at that point, like I say, you start to think, okay, if I don't have the game, what else do I have?
Yeah.
So at that point for me back in Finland, I think the biggest thing that once I got over the fact that, okay, soccer isn't my whole life. It's not going to determine my life. I traveled, I started working. And at that point, I was like, I think I was 17 and I was going through it. And because for me, I had lost a spot in the national team. I lost a contract that I was going to sign for one of the bigger professional club teams over in Finland. And it kind of just, took a big toll. For me, being able to surround myself with a big group of people that were able to teach me a lot of life lessons, but definitely traveling was something that, like I was talking about Australia. So that was the first country that I went to visit while I was going through everything. And funny story, I was gonna travel to Thailand by myself, but my parents definitely did not agree with that, and they were going crazy over it. So my brother ended up calling me, told me to come to Australia, for a month, take some time off and really see what it is you want from life. Just help you realize that sports isn't everything. You have other talents, you have other things that you can focus on. And for athletes in general, just because the game gets taken away from you from a certain amount of time, it doesn't mean that you can't get back into that game. And it doesn't mean that that's going to determine the rest of your life. A lot of younger athletes, that's all they have is sports. So they grow up thinking, if I don't make it, I'm not going to go anywhere. So definitely I would say traveling helped me kind of realize, okay, what other talents I have and how it helped me find myself a lot. And eventually I came over, decided to accept that offer, came over to the States, got the scholarship, but then ran into more troubles. So it's definitely been an uphill, downhill, nonstop. But couple of things that has helped me overcome it, especially now with injuries. The latest injuries that I got were concussions, and a car accident. So that definitely kind of pushed back a lot of goals that I have. And even right now, obviously it's hard. Even right now, it's hard to deal with. But at the end of the day, you just got to keep your head up and realize that it doesn't mean the game is over forever.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that you can't find other things to do in the meantime. Actually, I'm glad. I'm glad I ended up getting injured. At the time I was like, this is the worst thing that ever happened to me, and mentally I was destroyed. But I was so glad that that happened to me, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to travel, or wouldn't have even thought about traveling. Because soccer would have always been that, and I always would have been busy with soccer. I never would have met the people, amazing, amazing people back in Finland, and even while traveling, that I was able to meet. So I think about it like this, if I wasn't injured, I wouldn't have got to experience the things that I would have got to experience. I probably wouldn't have came to the States. I probably wouldn't have met the half of the people that I met already, and already got to network and just like transfer different stories and talk about their experiences. Like I said, you never know who you're going to end up meeting. So a lot, like I was saying back, people really have to focus on the mental aspect as well for a lot of younger athletes, because they don't realize. I feel like the mental aspect here in general as well, but definitely here in the States, it kind of gets brushed under the rug. And for me, it was like a lot of young athletes aren't able to talk about it. They aren't able to talk about it because it brings them to a state where they feel vulnerable. A lot of people don't like to feel like that. They don't like to feel vulnerable. So it's like, it's so important, even for young athletes, for coaches as well, to make sure that the person, that you're training or coaching, to make sure that up here, they're there. Because if not, they're not going to be in the game. They're going to drift away, drift somewhere else. So it's definitely been an uphill and a downhill, but I am very, very appreciative that I believe certain things happen for a reason. There's a time and a place for everything, and I'm very, very fortunate that things that happen, because if not, I wouldn't have met half the people, experienced half the things that I have so far. Yes, is it tough? 100%. But you just got to keep your head up, and you just got to look at other aspects. Okay, if you say, I can't do this right now, I can't play my sport, I can't go to practice, what else can I do? What other things can I do to still be able to benefit and grow as a person? Because it's all about growing as a person. So those are definitely a couple of things I'm still learning, I'm still growing. But it's, for other athletes or people in general, keep your head up. Don't give up. Don't listen to those little voices that you have in your head, because those are the voices that are going to take you down. And the second you open your head and listen to those voices, it's game over. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey. Definitely been an interesting journey so far, but still got lots to go. Lots to go. So I'm excited.
Kat, like I applaud your maturity and your perspective, because it's not easy. It's not easy. So
Tough.
so you said some truly powerful things. So thank you for sharing.
Of course.
And
Of
being
course.
open.
Yeah, for me, if I can help the next person not going through the things that I had to go through, definitely help them out. Of course, I believe that you got to go through things to understand who you are as a person.
Yeah.
But if I can help someone, I'll be more than happy to.
Yeah.
Don't stop. You're gonna make me tear up. Stop.
It's a rather emotional question. There's so many different ways and so many different ways to answer it. I think about a number of things. Some I'm not going to touch on, because I'm not trying to get emotional right now. I'm not trying to have an Oprah moment, please. All right. But Buju Banton said it best, right? His song, he said, "It's not an easy road. Many see the glamour and the glitter, so they think it's a better road. It's not." I think sports is a microcosm of life, really and truly. You go through so many hills and valleys, ups and downs, and it's your ability to kind of deal with them and handle them that really kind of helps you to kind of move forward in life. And I think, we've all experienced that. I've experienced it at every single level. I remember the first time I started playing sports, I was playing with my brother's team. My brother was really good, and his team was really good. So they used to win championships. So I got used to winning championships, even though I was not winning a championship. I was on the bench watching my brother and kind of being a part of the team from that standpoint. And then once I started playing, like my first tournament, playing, like leading my team in my age group, we lost every single game. The only game we won was the All-Star game. So I was kind of in that mode where I was like, I don't want to do this thing anymore. And my coach said to me, I never forgot that. And I still remember it today. And I teach the kids that I work with. He said, winning is a habit, right? You develop the habit of winning, and you never want to lose. You'll do everything you can to win. So from this point on, you won the All-Star game, MVP, win, start winning. So next year off the middle school, we won middle school back-to-back, undefeated, 2 years in middle school. High school, we had a great year. High school, I was a freshman playing varsity, starting, leading my team. Then went off to boarding school. We won championships after championships. So it became a habit. And I've won, in different tournaments, won multiple MVPs, most valuable player. And it's because of that one little setback I had where we lost all 10 games we played. And that coach said to me, winning is a habit. Develop the habit of winning, and you never want to get the experience of losing. And to me, that's life. In life, you're going to have some setbacks. You're going to have some deals that don't go through. What are you going to do? Just give up? You can't give up. When you give up, that's losing. And I'm not a loser. We're not losers, right? So when you lose, or when you fall short, all you do is just go revisit that and see what you could have done differently. The big thing here is to take ownership, right? Take ownership of every single loss. That way you're in the driver's seat to control the outcomes in the future. But if it's always, my teammates' fault or somebody else's fault, then you're always going to have that same situation, that repeating cycle of just losing. And, winners always try and take responsibility, even though sometimes it's not really their responsibility, but they take the ownership because they want to be in the driver's seat. And that's what sport does for you. When you try to play sports at a high level, you put yourself in the driver's seat where you control different outcomes. You take responsibility. And that's one of the things I learned from it. And there's just so much more, man. We could talk about this for hours, Blaze. This is really one of those topics that
I
really
feel like
touch me big time.
Yeah.
It's, as you said, games, right? Sports, they are a metaphor for a life, right? So if in the game, if you're losing, or if you lose a game, or if you lose a series, and your perspective is, well, it's their fault, and you're blaming others, well, that transfers, right? That translates into how you are in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that athletes, I am getting crazy spam on my phone. I'm sorry. I feel like athletes, I don't want to say that they're more intelligent, but I feel like athletes get better training for actually life because it's in those moments, right? On the court, in the pool, on the field, on the ring, in the ring, all of that, you're forced to make huge decisions, right? Sometimes in a split second, right? To avoid a hit, to block, to whatever it is. And in our lives, many times we have to make big decisions. Do I leave Finland? Do I go to the States? Do I marry this person? You know what I mean? So I feel that athletes, that they're forced to deal with so much intense pressure, and that we don't give them enough credit. We feel, oh, it's just leisure, it's just entertainment, but they're not robots. There are humans out there with feelings, right? With real bodies, with emotions. And to us watching, it seems like just entertainment, but on the athlete, it's so much that goes into it, man. So both of you, I again want to applaud, just for the years that you've put in, the dedication, right? I will have my clients, and not to crap on my clients or anything, but I'm like, let's focus on this program. We got Ab Wars, right? So I need you to lock in for 6 weeks, to achieve all these goals and blah, blah, blah. Imagine being dedicated and committed to a sport for years, not 6 weeks, not one training session, right? Imagine dedicating your life, your livelihood, sometimes putting the sport first above your own family. All these sacrifices, right? For years. So, not to go too left. Again, I just want to applaud you all just for your bravery, for your commitment throughout the years, and for your transparency here on the stage as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, definitely appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, I love the platform. Great job, man. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Before you all go, how, for those that are watching who would like to get in contact with you all, from the thirsty men that are looking at Cat's eyes on this virtual stage.
Oh man.
I will edit that out.
God, you gotta throw it out there like that. You got
No, but seriously, how can people reach you? What are you currently involved in? And leave any of your contact information for others, whether they want to book you all, whether they're just fans, or whether they are aspiring athletes in this. So whoever wants to go first here.
Well, I just changed my name.
Okay.
I just changed my name to Dean Hoya Berry. I think that's my Instagram handle.
He said he thinks.
I don't use that stuff like how I probably should. This. I don't even know how to check. Yeah, Dean Hoya Berry. That's my Instagram. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I need to use that stuff more because a lot more people, can do it to help. And Kat said something that I think is extremely important. I don't want to overlook that. She said the mental part, people ignore that. And I think, I've been so fortunate in my life that I've had some good coaches where when I had those mental struggles, Blaze, they were able to like sit down and talk me through it. One of the situations that you talk about, challenges that I encountered when I was in college, and I think my sophomore year had just started, and my father got shot, right? And he was on life support for like 13 days, and no one told me. They didn't tell me because they wanted me to focus on school. And I found out when they were about to pull the plug, and I was destroyed. I was like totally just destroyed at that point. And Coach Thompson sat me down and he talked me through it. And Coach Thompson If you've never met this man, he, God bless his soul as well. He was one of the most amazing people I've ever met. We talked for hours and it had nothing to do with basketball. It had to do with life and challenges. So to have someone that you can sit down and talk through your mental challenges with, that's really, no strings attached. I think it's so important, and that got me through that situation. I had a number of other situations I went through that he sat down and talked me through, and other people as well. But I think the mental part is just so important, and we should not overlook that. We should definitely overlook that. And that's one of the things I do from a mentoring standpoint when I work with the kids. It's not just about how to shoot a basketball, how to dribble a basketball. It's about how to think the game, how to think through different obstacles you're going to encounter in the game. Like I said, the game is a part of life. The game kind of it's that little micro of what life really is. So
Yeah.
that was really powerful, Kat. I didn't want to overlook that.
Yeah, something I definitely would love to add to that is same thing. Been very, very fortunate to have a good amount of coaches, close to me, or just friends in general that have been trainers that kind of know what an athlete has to go through mentally. That I've been very fortunate enough to have people around me pushing me and helping me. A lot of coaches helping me through it. So please, if you are a coach, if you're a trainer, sit down with your players
Yep.
and
Yep.
ask them,
Yep.
okay, how are you doing? How's everything going? How's this?
Yep.
Check on them. Please check on them, because you don't know what's going on inside until you actually know. And
Yep.
some of them, a lot of players, I know a lot of people that are afraid. They're afraid to go up to their coaches, or they're afraid to go up to certain people because they don't know what the response is going to be. So
Yeah.
if they
Yep.
can't make the step, please, as a coach, as a trainer, go up to them and make sure that they're doing all right.
So powerful. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
So, love how that was an awesome story. Definitely a great
Yeah.
story, Dean.
Thank you. Thank you.
Glad you were able to share that. Trust me,
Yeah.
it touches a lot of people. You never know who you're touching out there. So that's awesome that you were able to share that.
Indeed.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Kat, how can
Mm.
they reach you? How can they book you? Come on,
Instagram.
son. Come
Instagram.
on.
I'm running all about. So I would definitely say, if you guys got any questions or anything, Instagram. Or just come straight to Crunch. I spend the majority of my time at Crunch Fitness over in Pembroke Pines. But Instagram, you can find me at my first name. So Catherine, just add an extra E, and then the three first letters of my last name. So MCC. And then underneath, if you type Killer K, both of my accounts is gonna pop up as Killer K as well. So
Killer K.
ask away any questions.
Why they call you Killer K?
I guess I got a reputation for what's the nicest way of putting it? Just pushing people. That's what I like to do. I like to push
Yeah.
people. And for me, even I started not too long ago doing some boot camps. And for me, it's not the workout part. For me, I really, really want to focus on the mental aspect, bringing you out of your comfort zone. So I guess for me, I really like to push people to the extent to, some people say, okay, I can't lift this. Why can't you lift it? It's only weight.
Ooh.
It's like, at the end of the day, it's
It's
just the
only
way you
weight.
think. It's only weight. Don't think of the number. It's just weight.
Ooh.
The second you get in your head and you let those thoughts, like I said, you let those thoughts take over, that's when it's like, oh, I can't do it. So for me, I guess I got the representation of Killer K for pushing them,
Yep.
killing them just a little bit in the
I've
workouts.
experienced it.
But but I only do it not because of the workout aspect. For me, yes, obviously I care about it. But at the end of the day, I don't care about it because I care what's up here and how you're developing up here. So
Yeah.
for me, I think that's why I got the name Killer K, because I like to push people to an extent to where they understand and they realize they can do things that in their head,
They
those
didn't
thoughts
think they
are
could
telling
do.
them that they can't. And
Yeah.
then, I just love to push people, make them realize that they can actually do things that they believe in. Make them believe it.
Beautiful.
Make them believe it.
Indeed.
Beautiful.
When are your
Beautiful.
boot camps?
Oh, every Saturday. Every Saturday. The location and the time definitely varies, but every Saturday I've been staying consistent with it right now. So if you're interested, definitely through Instagram, you can find me there. Ask all the questions.
There you go. There you
Wow.
go. There you go.
Boot camp, huh? Whoa.
Boot camp.
Yeah, I might have to
definitely.
slide through. I'm running my Saturday boot camps right now, but in
Awesome.
April, I will have a small break.
Perfect.
So even as a trainer, sometimes I want to get pushed too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I can easily push others and make others throw up, but
Mhm.
but sometimes I want to be pushed a little more than I would push myself. So
I got you.
trainers need trainers too. Coaches
Exactly.
need coaches. Yeah.
Yep.
Coaches need coaches. Trainers need
Yep.
trainers as much. So as much as
Amen.
anyone else. You know, a lot of people think, oh, personal trainers don't have trainers. No, we do. We all need trainers,
Yeah.
whether it's for the physical aspect or the mental aspect.
Yeah.
It's
True.
always good to have someone to support you in ways that you can't support yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Before we go, rather, I'd like to shout out our sponsor. I know Dean had mentioned that he needs to be more visible on social media. So, for your social media needs, shout out to our sponsor, Star Child Social. If you're looking for branding, if you're looking for enhancement, for engagement in your social media, looking for a logo, for web design, please go to www.starchildsocial.com and tell them Blaze sent you. All right.
Awesome.
Indeed. Again, I want to thank you all for spending, look at that, 90 minutes. I was trying to do an
Love it.
hour,
Love it.
but y'all just kept on talking. So 90 minutes. But again, thank you all. This right here was episode 64. Later this week, tomorrow, the audio only version will be available on your streaming platforms, your Spotify, your Google Podcast, your Apple Podcast, your Breaker, all of those. So be on the lookout for those. If you rather the audio version, I'll be sharing those links as well. The replay on YouTube will be available right as we end this live. All right, you can go on YouTube and check it out. And stay tuned for next week, episode 65, where we'll get into some American football.
Interesting.
Indeed. And then towards the last episode of the month of March, we're going to have another panel. You know, I love to end these months with panels. And our panel at the end of March will be a CrossFit panel. Hey. So we're having different CrossFit athletes on there from all over. Yes, indeed. As I always say, this was the Blaze the Lion podcast. Peace and love.